Hello guys, welcome back to NHL Rumor Roundup, the show where we discuss the big rumors from across the NHL. Now today, we're going to be updating the Mitch Marner situation, talking about the latest rumors on Pavel, Buchnevich, David Backes, New Jersey Devils, and the Edmonton Oilers. Now there are lots of rumors swirling across the NHL right now, and a lot of big updates on some key NHL players. So what's the latest on Mitch Marner, Pavel, Buchnevich, David Backes, the New Jersey Devils, and the Edmonton Oilers? Watch till the end to find out. Now getting on the topic of big updates for big players, first starting out for today's Rumor Roundup, we have the Mitch Marner situation. And this one is, again, an ongoing situation that pretty much updates every other day. But we got some big updates since the last time I talked about him, and the whole situation has completely done a 180. Now the drama level of this whole Mitch Marner situation has pretty much been at an all-time high. Right now we're 2 months away basically from the NHL season starting, and he's still not signed at this point. Now, a big update came from Aaron Porcelain of The Athletic, Columbus Blue Jackets writer. He ended up saying that the Blue Jackets have a lot of interest in Mitch Marner and offer sheeting him potentially. Now, that doesn't really surprise me because Columbus is this crazy team that's done crazy stuff in the past, so it doesn't surprise me that they're a team that's going after him. But right now it's looking like they are the main contender. If we do see an offer sheet, it likely is from the Columbus Blue Jackets. And while the Columbus Blue Jackets are the frontrunner for Mitch Marner, don't count out the New York Islanders quite yet. Now, they obviously aren't as contending as the Columbus Blue Jackets, but the Islanders about a week ago were the main contenders for him, and a team that was looking very, very close to offer sheeting him. So the Islanders actually going ahead and doing that wouldn't surprise me either. But those two teams kind of seem like the two main fits for Marner right now. Two teams with some cap space, and two teams that are willing to do something pretty crazy. And while having Columbus and the New York Islanders interested in Marner is pretty big news, Bob McKenzie had a big Bob McKenzie bomb and just laid out a completely new bit of information that not a lot of people really thought about. Now, Bob McKenzie on Twitter, on his main Twitter account, ended up saying the Toronto Maple Leafs are close, if not wanting, an offer sheet right now. And that is gigantic news for a team that, yes, does have the cap space to get a matched offer. If they do want that offer sheet, it likely means they want this contract negotiation to finally be over and to have a resolve, which right now, I wouldn't be surprised by. Now, right after that tweet, Bob McKenzie ended up tweeting again, the negotiations between Toronto and the Mitch Marner camp are a lot more separate than even we thought. And we saw a couple of reports a couple weeks ago that the AAV was a bit closer than some people might have thought, but I guess that's completely bogus up to this point. But when it comes to contract negotiations, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up going into the season, and I don't think anybody wants that to happen. I don't think Mitch Marner wants that. I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs want that. I don't think anybody watching this, I don't even want that to happen, but I think it will happen in the end. Mitch Marner obviously wants his money, and he hasn't budged up to this point, so I don't see why he would right now. But for the Toronto Maple Leafs to want an offer sheet, I think it's smart and, again, not really surprising. When it comes to Toronto, if they get an offer sheet of $11 or $12 million, maybe even 10.5, they should just take those 4 first-round picks and just run with it. Whether it's the Columbus Blue Jackets, the New York Islanders, who cares at this point? Just take those 4 first-round picks and get out of there. While it might not 100% guarantee to be better than Mitch Marner, those 4 first-round picks, it's obviously worth taking the risk. And for a team like Columbus that probably won't be a playoff team next season, you might as well take that. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs and Kyle Dubas feel the same way. Now moving on to a situation that in my opinion is a lot less exhausting, the next rumor roundup we have is on Pavel Buchnevich and his very unique NYR situation. And the Rangers right now have almost just barely above $7 million in cap space. And after they sign Trouba for likely around that, they won't have too much finagling to sign RFAs like Pavel Buchnevich. And he might be a guy that ends up getting traded because of it. When it came to the Buchnevich situation, he was always one of the guys on NYR's radar to be traded, especially in the past couple of months. But we never got a big idea on which exact teams would be interested in him, but we do now. Thanks to David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, he ends up saying and reporting that the Edmonton Oilers are seriously considering going after him and ending up trading for him, which makes a lot of sense. For a team like Edmonton that needs that scoring, especially depth-wise, Buchnevich can't be a guy that especially has a rebound season. Now, Staples also ends up reporting that this might be a good time for Edmonton to get rid of Jesse Puljujarvi in a potential trade. Of course, Puljujarvi, who asked for a trade for Edmonton a couple of months back, hasn't been traded yet, but a potential trade of Buchnevich and Puljujarvi might suffice, especially for both sides. Puljujarvi gets a fresh new start in a fantastic young core, and Buchnevich, again, who hasn't played that great NYR, could play alongside a guy like Connor McDavid, which would not be bad at all. Now, Edmonton right now is $2.9 million in cap space. The only RFA they have, or free agent they have right now, is still Jesse Puljujarvi, who again might be included in the deal. So Edmonton would probably have the cap space enough to sign Pavel Buchnevich and to get that done. And of course, they also want to get rid of cap space because they have quite a few free agents after next season. They want to get rid of a guy like Russell, which makes sense. But when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, to get a guy like Buchnevich, a guy that has a lot of potential still and a lot of skill and could be a middle six forward, you might as well. And Edmonton has already taken a couple of risks in this offseason. Buchnevich is just another one to add to the pile. Now, the Rangers have to make casualties somewhere, and even if they don't end up trading Buchnevich, they likely will have to make a couple of moves. Larry Brooks ends up suggesting and reporting that the New York Rangers are trying to buy out both Brendan Smith and Kevin Shattenkirk. And that makes a lot of sense. Both of those guys have not worked out in NYR whatsoever, especially Kevin Shattenkirk, who had a lot of hype, a lot of promise, ended up having a lot of injury issues and hasn't really worked up to this point. So for NYR, yes, that will hurt them down the line, but right now they do need that cap space. Even if they are a rebuilding team, they need as much as they can get, and Kevin Shattenkirk and Brendan Smith are two terrible contracts right now. Moving on to the next player in the rumor roundup, and now we're moving on to the David Backes situation, a situation that's gotten pretty ugly in the past couple of months. Now when it comes to Boston, and when it comes to David Backes, they ended up signing him a couple of years back in free agency, and to a massive, massive deal. But this past Cup final, I'm pretty sure he was scratched for a couple of games, if not most of those games. It was overall just an ugly situation. He was a veteran presence, but he ended up getting scratched versus his former team, and that former team ended up winning the Cup in front of them. So it obviously wasn't an ideal situation for him, and the Boston Bruins might be looking to move on. Now, David Backes has $6 million for 2 more years on his contract. Boston right now having $8.1 million in cap space, but they have to sign a couple of RFAs, Brandon Carlo and most notably Charlie McAvoy, and that's not going to be an easy task. But if you get a guy like Backes off the books, if you get $6 million off the books, it's a lot more easier to sign those guys and a lot more easier to sign free agents in the future too. So Boston, obviously, that's one of their biggest priorities, as it should be. Now, the problem when it comes to David Backes' trade ideas is the amount of teams that want him. And the amount of teams that want him is not a lot of teams. And I don't think a lot of teams want that because he's obviously not that great of a player. He's old, he has some back problems. That's not usually a good recipe, and he's quite overpaid too. So for Boston to get rid of that contract, it's going to be a big, big hassle. But Jimmy Murphy of Boston Hockey Now ends up reporting that his sources say that the New Jersey Devils are the main team in David Backes. And that also makes a lot of sense. While he's not that great of a player anymore, New Jersey has a ton of cap space to spend, a lot of room, and up the middle, need that next center. So David Backes, again, not that good, but can be serviceable for New Jersey. Now for the first team we'll mention in today's rumor roundup, and next we'll mention the New Jersey Devils. Now we're focusing on the Taylor Hall situation, which has seen a lot of updates, but not a lot of big news. Now the crazy Taylor Hall situation has been all over the place, looking good for New Jersey and also pretty bad. But Taylor Hall is one of the best, if not the best free agent in 2020 and has a real chance of skipping out on New Jersey and going to free agency. And obviously New Jersey has done everything in their power to try and sway him in the New Jersey direction, getting Jack Hughes, getting PK Subban, and in free agency getting Wayne Simmons, trying to be competitive to show why he should stay there. But right now it seems like that decision won't be made entirely soon. Sportsnet ends up reporting that the decision won't be coming for a while and likely will spill into next season, the 2019-20 season. Now, it was also confirmed that both New Jersey and Taylor Hall are okay with this contract negotiation spilling into next season, which to me is a little bit surprising. Obviously, New Jersey has done everything in their power to keep Taylor Hall, Jack Hughes, PK Subban, Wayne Simmons. They're trying to be competitive and make the playoffs next season to show why he should stay there. And again, I think Taylor Hall, in that situation, even if they do make the playoffs, might still end up going to free agency. If the New Jersey Devils don't end up giving that big money of $12 or $13 million, I could see Taylor Hall going to free agency. And he might be the best free agent we've seen for a while, and that's the problem there, because New Jersey, obviously, I don't think wants to give him $13 million, maybe not even $12 million. In a perfect world, it'd probably be around $10.5, $11 million, but since he's at UFA, since he's pretty much in the prime of his career right now, Hall has all the negotiating rights, and right now, might go to free agency. And even if New Jersey ends up going for a guy like David Backes, I don't think they're even done at that point. I think they want to strengthen that top six, strengthen that forward core as much as humanly possible, and try and keep Taylor Hall as easy as possible. And obviously, it's going to be a hard thing to do, but I don't think New Jersey will be done whatsoever in this offseason. They want to improve, they want to get better, they want to make the playoffs, and if you want to keep Taylor Hall, you might as well try. Now for the next team in the rumor roundup, we have now the Edmonton Oilers, and they're a pretty crazy situation. Now obviously, as I said before, they're in on Pavel Buchnevich, and I think that's a great fit. For them to get that middle six forward that can be a top six player for them, I think is a fantastic one, and they might as well try that out. But even after that, the Edmonton Oilers probably won't be done. We've gotten some big new rumors on Milan Lucic, and he could be traded to multiple different teams right now. Now Daniel Nugent-Bowman of The Athletic ends up writing that multiple NHL teams have looked into trading for Milan Lucic, and that is huge news. It's not just the Calgary Flames, it's not just the Vancouver Canucks, it's several NHL teams. And to me, that's pretty surprising that a lot of NHL teams still somewhat find Milan Lucic even somewhat valuable enough to trade for him, but it's going to happen right now. Now Edmonton, I think, priority number one should be getting out and getting away from that contract of Milan Lucic. And right now, it seems like a pretty good possibility for Ken Holland to get that contract away and not have to give up too much to get it. Now, Nugent-Bowman also reports that the returns for Milan Lucic are not the strongest, and that's to be expected. I don't know if you're ever going to get a strong return from Milan Lucic, but when it comes to that whole situation, if I was the Oilers GM, that would be #1 priority for me to get rid of that contract and just call it a day at that point. And obviously, Ken Holland feels the same. He's listening to offers. He's trying to get rid of that contract. Several NHL teams are interested, apparently, so that's also good news for them. And even if it's like a 4 for, I don't even care, a 7th round pick, you might as well take that deal. Get that contract out of the books pretty much any way possible. And yes, Milan Lucic brings that grit and that personality, I guess, to the locker room, but that's not that valuable anymore. He's a trash player, and it's nowhere near worth that contract. So for Edmonton to get rid of that contract, I think will be huge for them. It would also signify the changing of times, because with Peter Chiarelli or even anybody else, I don't know if they would have gotten rid of that contract, but Holland in that GM spot, getting rid of that contract, I think is a huge thing for them. So if they're able to get out of that contract, I think it will be fantastic for the franchise and, of course, the team in general. But overall, around the NHL, there's still a lot of rumors going around with a lot of different NHL players and a lot of different NHL teams. We're not quite in that August phase yet of where there's almost nothing to talk about, which is fantastic. Still in July right now, and that still means a lot of trade rumors to talk about. And when it comes to the ones in this video, there's still a lot of juicy information that'll likely come out in the next couple of weeks. And still on guys like Mitch Marner, there should be a lot to come very soon. But of course, with this video, I need to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So, let me know, what do you think about the rumors that we discussed in this video? What do you think about the latest on Mitch Marner, Pavel Buchnevich, David Backes, the New Jersey Devils, and the Edmonton Oilers? But, if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my video on the Seattle NHL team and them hiring Ron Francis as their new GM. But, that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on the rumors we discussed in today's video and what you think of them, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.